So this is an example of some poor weed control. Ultimately, what this boils down to is having better planning as far as when crops are ready and making sure that your crop, not too much of the crop is ready at one time so you can still make cultivation passes. And then also having your tools ready to go. So having your tools ready to go means that, you know, if you have a very narrow window to get into the field, you don't have to spend time setting up. There's a lot of things that go into weeds, not only for the look, but for the yield, but also when you have weeds like this, there's a higher likelihood of diseases popping up. We did experience more issues with Japanese beetles in this field because there was more places for them to hide, and that really slowed down the productivity of picking this field of kale, and that in turn made this field not as profitable when, if we would have made better decisions as far as when we cultivated, when the crop was ready to be harvested or start picking, that we could have probably changed the course of how this field looked. For the person who's just starting out growing vegetables, I would suggest using a combination of like hand scale tools, whether that's, you know, like a hand scale like push finger weeder that goes behind you know, a couple wheels from a company like TerraTech, or looking into walk behind tractors, which utilize, you know, somewhere in the 5 to 10 horsepower range of engine on, you know, 2 wheels. And then those are different than like a BCS, which does tillage primarily, or, you know, a range of PTO driven attachments. The walk behind tractors are primarily ground driven attachments. A lot of these tools that we've seen today can be fabricated pretty easily to go behind a walk behind tractor to fit the smaller scale to get into mechanical weed control. And because they're ground driven, they don't require a lot of horsepower. I would also suggest a combination of using, you know, plastic mulches or landscaping fabric or natural mulches if you're growing on a smaller scale. Eliminate the amount of exposed ground as much as you can, because that just means that that's going to be less work that you're going to have to do by hand or by pushing or whatever to eradicate weeds. So if you can eliminate having to make passes through the field, that'll set you up for success more. And then also, you know, think about what was growing in that field or the plot that you're going to be planting on. Think about what's been growing there for this year, last year, maybe even the year before, if you know, so you know kind of what to expect. Don't plant carrots in the space where a lot of weeds have gone to seed this year. Use that opportunity to put down some landscaping fabric or some mulch, or if you don't have those tools at your disposal, grow a crop that is not densely spaced, something that you can transplant and is wider space and easier to weed and will compete with the weeds better. So that way you're not exerting a lot of energy to have a weed-free crop.